Today is May 6, 2023. They scattered after last night. They scattered. I did that video, and then I did another video. And well, after I got off from doing the video, there was a man's voice. She knew exactly what was going on. After I did the first video, he was outside my room, as if she didn't know what I was doing. He's screaming. It's like if you have to incapacitate somebody, you have to drug them, you have to get them drunk to take advantage of them. That is considered rape. I never talked to him in person. See, that's where, after I got tortured in July to September 19, the guy that helped torture me, there was one of the stalkers they had got on my face at Walmart, the young guy with black stubbly hair, white sloppy pants, 30, dark eyes, was the one smothering me. The man that was actually raping me and torturing me was a fake FBI agent. He told everybody he was FBI around me, but he was never seen with undercover police, and he was never seen with police in office in uniform. But he'd walk around telling everybody he was FBI. He's the one that was raping me. And then there was an old fat white man. There's a video on a protected custody case. July to September 19, midnight to 3. I get tortured. I told you, after I was tortured, it took me about a week or two before I could go back to church. I had went to Macy's. I was trying to walk around to distract. Well, I seen the guy that raped me. I leave and I go to church. There's 1,000 people in there. And he comes in. I had to arrest that whore. People, 10 aisles of people both ways are staring at me and him. Rivers of tears. And I sit down crying. Okay? The usher yells at him, "You raped her. You leave her alone." And people are looking down at me and I'm crying rivers of tears. And then he yells, "And what you did was considered rape. You leave her alone. She only remembers Dave and being with Dave." Of course I remember the guy that tortured me. That was retired Judge Pete, wasn't it? It was him. He yelled at the guy for torturing me. And then he yelled at Pete for raping me. Because, of course, he just yelled at the one guy for raping, then it sounded like he was yelling at two. I never really thought about it. And what you did was considered rape. She doesn't remember you. She only remembers being with Dave. You leave her alone. See, that's where, if you have, and that idiot ending up outside my apartment last night, oh, she knew exactly what's going on. She knew everything. And he's screaming it. I started stuttering. If you have to incapacitate somebody by drugs or alcohol or knocking them out, that is rape. 100% rape. They want retired Judge Pete raping me? Pull the case. I have up to 8 injection marks. The foggy dream, you know, I thought it was a dream of someone holding me. I was so scared up there. They were using amnesia drugs. I never talked to him. So if I knew what was going on, I would have called the police. Do we understand? If I knew my husband's girlfriend's father was breaking in and raping me, Huh? I would have called the police. See, this is where, these people finally, they called these people in 19 low IQ people for helping out in this. All these low IQ people are actually helping out in this. They called them mentally retarded for helping out in this. They were insulting them, laughing at them, of how they didn't have an IQ. I want you to think about that. That their brains are that far gone, that they don't have enough IQ to realize this is wrong. At the Oakland apartment, after they told him everything was drugged and photoshopped, he said, I think the COVID virus has damaged people's brains so that they find things funny that aren't. So, a lot of them are gone today. See, after that guy's out there yelling at my apartment, a whole bunch of men swarmed around my apartment. He said, what? Yeah. It was rape. Like they said, a serial rapist. Okay. Where do they not understand that if they were looking for a Steve and Eric for stalking me, and nothing they had is admissible, my ex-husband cannot hire a stalker to stalk me, take me unaware in my home? Where would it be admissible? It's not. They can never look or listen to it. They can never show a real officer or a real agent that they were in my home taping me unaware before. It's instant jail. It's instant jail. I want you to think about that. It's instant jail. If stalkers' tapes are not credible to be entered into court, they can't even look at them. It's the Fourth Amendment over the house. You have the right to be safe and secure in your own home. He can't hire a stalker. He can't have somebody tape me naked in the shower, using the bathroom, me and him in bed, and then sell videos of it. He goes to jail for it. His confession to our son Danny, a lot of people are wondering why he's not went to jail. You know how bad it is? It feels like anymore. Dave confessed to federal crimes. Federal crimes. Federal crimes. On a legally tapped phone. Is he in jail? No. You know how bad it is? And no offense, officers, I don't think that you get paid enough. I honestly don't. You lay your life down, and the bad ones disgrace what you do every day. But with what's going on right now, it feels like Dave could walk up and shoot a cop and kill him in front of 100 cops. And they say, just tell his wife he got killed at work. It was just Dave. Let him go. Like people don't have sense. He just committed a crime. Why the heck haven't anybody arrested him? Where they thought the churches hired stalkers to do it. Dave confessed he hired him on his own. I'll tell you what, Eric is the prime example of how much their drugs work, that they can control you under them. They started telling everybody a Steve and Eric taped me before. And the police had told them in uniform, it's a stalker, nothing they have is admissible. No one's allowed to tape you unaware in your home with tiny cameras. It's stalking. Police and agencies can only be in your home watching you under a threat of life with statements, or they go to jail. 2 to 20 years. And it's still not admissible. The right to privacy over your home, you have a right to remain quiet and right to an attorney. See, they made the big mistake. They did it at my home. Retired Judge Pete started to act like he was Steve or Eric, calling doctor's office, hospital, so they'd be wanted stalkers. They went as far as getting Eric high, and in a November 1822, Walmart 62, 2 to 6 p.m., all the tapes before were me and not her, ha, 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 ha. It was my idea to come up with it, my idea to say it, my idea to do it, screaming out a confession. They had him nailed. They had been leaving his name, both their names, and then he came in and confessed. April 15th or 16th, our son Danny calls his dad on a legally tapped phone. I don't know why that man confessed. He had nothing to do with it. He had hired some guy named Pete on his own to tape her unaware and to do all those things. It was Dave. hiring his girlfriend's father, retired Judge Pete, no authority, to stalk me. He goes to jail for them. They can't ever look or listen. They were not credible tapes, and they were done by a stalker. So where they said they put clips together, made a porn, put a shower scene in the other room, they probably did. Like my friend from the prosecutor's office, they probably did. Photoshop that shower scene. You had bruises, you were throwing up, hand marks, things that you couldn't explain. Dizzy, almost passing out. They probably were drugging you. Zach's thing of being drugged, they had kept me so drugged up with the amnesia drugs. When it wore off, I was so sick I couldn't even put thoughts together. And then at getting an infected personal area, I had been raped. If I would have known that man was breaking in and raping me, I would have went to the police. You do realize, and with them selling videos of me and Dave in bed, me showering, they have kitty porn. They sold and dispensed that too. And that's called sex trafficking. And there's actually a name of what they're doing to me, where you Photoshop shower scenes, you drug somebody, and then you sell videos of them with their spouse or whatever without their permission. It's called sex trafficking videos and sextortion when you try to get money out of it. The Fourth Amendment over the house, you have a right to be safe and secure. They made a big mistake doing it now. It can never be looked or listened to. Because of the right to privacy, right to remain quiet, right to an attorney. We actually don't live in a communist country. We live in an amazing, free country. That the government can't hurt its people. They can't even look at their shit. Where they're going to, oh, we're going to get money out of this. You're going to get free lodging for the rest of your life. Where they follow me around and yell stuff, I'll tell you what. There's a cop around. You do that, he'll arrest you. That or they're looking for someone bigger. I'd like to know what happened to that agent. That agent, do you realize, I looked it up on the internet. 10 cops got arrested in life and prison. They were for abuse and misconduct, abusing the authority over them. So where you bully people into false statements and then you don't do your job, they got life in prison. See, that's where the Tuscarora sheriff said you can never tell anybody not to believe him and not to help him. You go to jail for that. It's a life sentence. So where I try to tell that agent, do you know badgering laws? Just even calling somebody a liar, you can go to jail 5 to 20 years. He obstructed justice, tampered with evidence, and tampered with witnesses. What he did was a crime. And he did it on a recorded line, made me plead for my life. He can get 79 years. He let the Detroit boys kidnap her. I told him that someone told me that at church. He called me a flat-out liar and said, oh my God, how'd they find out? And my God, thank goodness you got away from him. I'll try to figure out who he is. Because, see, that would have been reasonable. See, I told you I didn't even believe he was real. I Googled the office he said he was at, and I found him. Because I didn't believe he was real because he was so mean to me. But then he listed me informant with diplomatic immunity and $5,000 a month for working this case. And it was a huge case. He had the biggest case in the world sitting on his desk. Human trafficker and drug traders. And a retired judge messed up with him. And my ex-husband was dating his daughter that was messed up, and these people taking people and selling them. And there were several groups and drug dealers in this area. I had over 200 around me the first month. He had an officer talk to Dave, opened a real protected custody for an FBI informant. And I told you, I Googled where he's at. I told him about Dave threatening Dixie and the baby's life. He heard it. I'm already working on it. So he heard them try to shoot me in the car when I'm screaming, God, don't let them shoot me, da, 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 da. There would be a video of that van pulling up. He also would have seen them break in and stab me with needles with their surveillance. And that means he probably seen Pete rape me, right? So why the hell did he leave me up there? Huh? Because even when I seen the guy, it was like 3 weeks before Christmas. And he took off through a side woods. They actually did break in the wrong house. They broke in the duplex. A lady was in the hospital, I think, and I don't know what happened to those men over there. They're probably the drug dealers because they had a copy of my phone. Having a copy of somebody's phone is wiretapping. It's a federal crime. Out there making fun of me of notes I kept under me because so many bad things were happening. I did like a crossword puzzle through the word Aesop in there. What's Aesop? It's a child's book. See, this is where you can't just walk out on a case. You have to at least formally close it, move your informant out, and give them their money. You can't just walk away. Hell's breaking loose. Stalkers are showing up. People are breaking and stabbing me with needles. Got marks all over me. Huh? I get bashed in the head, stabbed in the neck, left for dead and beat on 12/21/18. Shooting night by Christmas 18. Almost got shot in the head driving way before that. Stalkers are showing up. People are stabbing me with needles till I'm losing 5 to 7 pounds a week. Where the hell was he? And where the hell did he go? They said he stole the money on the first day. You can't just walk out on a case. Leave that person in high danger and never talk to him again. And he did. The biggest case in the world. And like that one guy I had dinner with, his local police department, and he said other police were using the case that agent opened to get the big human trafficking scam that's going on. They used the drug traders. They knew about the Kingsmen in my group, or the Texas group that was involved in my case. And I'm like, oh, the Kingsmen. They live 2.5 hours away. And how they weren't releasing a lot of information, and they were going to take care of them. And they did an 800 people sweep across the nation, 188 out of Ohio. They used that case that agent opened. Do you realize it took the sheriffs and the marshals to do his job? He had the biggest case in the world. They're still taking people here. I went down to get Chinese food. There's a missing girl. Go on the internet. There's more people missing. They're taking people to be killed. And people are laughing at me, trying to get help. I have to put my refrigerator in front of the door. My rapist is outside. I had bruises. Like, I told you this is his temper tantrum. He's a serial rapist. He likes to break in women's homes, stab them with date rape drugs. Rape them, beat them. They wake up and they're throwing up and sick and not know where the bruise came from. And they don't know what happened to him. That is a serial rapist. They've hired a serial rapist. He cannot hire a man to stalk me with butt cameras in my home. Tape us in bed. Tape me in the shower. Us together. Sell videos of it. That's sex trafficking videos. He cannot take my constitutional rights away. He may think he's God, but he is not. And nothing they have is admissible. That's where the Portage County Sheriffs, they try to blame them. Miss Hall, we had no knowledge of anybody being in your home or anybody else's home outside the protected life case. I said, with statements, yes. What these people are saying they did is illegal. I said, you couldn't look or listen. Yes. So what they did is illegal that cannot be looked or listened to. Like Officer Reinhardt in Louisville, you don't realize how illegal it is to watch somebody alone in their home. We could never look or listen. Even the FBI cannot be in your home outside a protected life case with statements. They go to jail. So why isn't Dave in jail for confessing he hired a stalker? Because 4 attempts on my life hadn't worked. So they decided to stalk me in my home. Date rape drug me, photoshopped the scenes where they lied to my son, Danny. Pete has it set up. She can't get no money. Pete don't have anything admissible. And in the meantime, they've confessed they drugged me and told me to say it before. They admitted to photoshopping their shower scenes. And a stalker's video would never hold up in court. Nor could the police or agencies ever look in it. Because like Officer Reinhardt said, they go to jail for looking at them. They can arrest them for saying they did it. Because where they sprayed, they altered mine. See what I mean? They weren't done by police, and then it's considered entrapment. And the Fourth Amendment over the house covers it. I'm going to upload this. Unless somebody arrests retired Judge Pete, wherever I go, he'll follow me. He tells everybody I'm his beautiful girlfriend. I told you. They used to say that's Karen's will. No man's to ever touch her. She belongs to Will. I don't belong to retired Judge Pete. I've never even talked to him. I've seen him drive around me. Seen him the day of my divorce walk by. If I witnessed, he was just some weird man that was following me. I didn't know who he was till the day of my divorce, and his picture was hanging on the wall, and he was joking around with Judge Timothy Ludick. I didn't even know who he was. And I've never talked to him. And he's raped me. And if they want proof of it, pull the protected custody case. Like that usher said. After he yelled at the guy for raping me. You leave her alone. And what you did was considered rape. She doesn't remember you. It's 100% rape. If you have to incapacitate somebody to take advantage of them, it's 100% rape. This family's messed up in that big human trafficking scam. The drug traders out of the area stealing people to sell them. I'm going to upload this.